The House of Saud is the ruling royal family of Saudi Arabia. The family has thousands of members. It is composed of the descendants of Muhammad bin Saud and his brothers, though the ruling faction of the family is primarily led by the descendants of Abdulaziz bin Abdul Rahman Āl Saʻūd. The most influential member of the royal family is the King of Saudi Arabia. The throne was designed to pass from one son of King Abdulaziz to another. His deputies, Salman and Muqrin, are also from the ruling House of Saud, and the king-appointed cabinet includes more members of the royal family. While the monarchy is hereditary now, future Saudi kings will be chosen by a committee of Saudi princes, in line with the 2006 royal decree. The family is estimated to be composed of 15,000 members, but the majority of the power and wealth is possessed by a group of only about 2,000. The House of Saud has gone through three phases: the first Saudi state, the second Saudi state, and the modern nation of Saudi Arabia. The first Saudi state marked the expansion of Islam. The second Saudi state was marked with continuous infighting. Modern Saudi Arabia wields considerable influence in the Middle East. The family has had conflicts with the Ottoman Empire, the Sharif of Mecca, the Al-Rashid family of Hiril, and numerous Islamist groups both inside and outside Saudi Arabia. Title: House of Saud is a translation of Āl Saʻūd. The latter is an Arabic dynastic name formed by adding the word al, meaning family of, or house of, to the personal name of an ancestor. In the case of the Āl Saʻūd, this is the father of the dynasty's 18th-century founder, Muhammad bin Saud. Today, the surname Āl Saʻūd is carried by any descendant of Muhammad bin Saud or his three brothers Fahan, Thunayan, and Mashari. Āl Saʻūd's other family branches are called Cadet Branches. Members of the Cadet Branches hold high and influential positions in government, though they are not in line of succession to Saudi throne. Many Cadet members intermarry within the Āl Saʻūd to re-establish their lineage and continue to wield influence in the government. Sons and grandsons of King Abdulaziz are referred to in the style His Royal Highness, differing from the royals belonging to the Cadet Branches, which are called His Highness. History, origins and early history. The earliest recorded ancestor of the Āl Saʻūd was Mani ibn Rabi' al-Muradi. He settled in Diriyah in 1446–1447 with his clan, the Mruda. Mani was invited by a relative named Ibn Dur. Ibn Dur was the ruler of a set of villages and estates that make up modern-day Riyadh. Mani's clan had been on a sojourn in East Arabia, near Al-Qatif, from an unknown point in time. Ibn Dur handed Mani two estates called Al-Mulaybid and Qasaba. Mani and his family settled and renamed the region Al-Diriyah, after their benefactor Ibn Dur. The Mruda became rulers of Al-Diriyah, which prospered along the banks of Wadi Hanifa and became an important Nordi settlement. As the clan grew larger, power struggles ensued, with one branch leaving for nearby Dhuma, while another branch left for the town of Zubair in southern Iraq. The Al-Muqrin became the ruling family among the Mruda in Diriyah. First Saudi state. The first Saudi state was founded in 1744. This period was marked by conquest of neighboring areas and by religious zeal. At its height, the first Saudi state included most of the territory of modern-day Saudi Arabia, and raids by Āl Saʻūd's allies and followers reached into Yemen, Oman, Syria, and Iraq. Islamic scholars, particularly Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and his descendants, are believed to have played a significant role in Saudi rule during this period. The Saudis and their allies referred to themselves during this period as the Muwahhidun or al-Tawhid, so later they are referred as the Wahhabis. Leadership of the Āl Saʻūd during the time of their first state passed from father to son without incident. The first Imam, Muhammad ibn Saud, was succeeded by his eldest son Abdulaziz in 1765. In 1802, Abdulaziz led 10,000 Muslim soldiers into an attack on the Shiite holy city of Karbala, in what is now southern Iraq and where Hussein ibn Ali, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, is buried. Led by Abdulaziz, the Muslim soldiers killed more than 2,000 people, including women and children. The soldiers plundered the city, demolishing the massive golden dome above Hussein's tomb and loaded hundreds of camels with weapons, jewelry, coins and other valuable goods. The attack on Karbala convinced the Ottomans and the Egyptians that the Saudis were a threat to regional peace. Abdulaziz was killed in 1803 by an assassin, believed by some to have been a Shiite seeking revenge over the sacking of the Shiite holy city of Karbala in 1802. Abdulaziz was in turn succeeded by his son, Saud, under whose rule the Saudi state reached its greatest extent. By the time Saud died in 1814, his son and successor Abdullah had to contend with an Ottoman-Egyptian invasion seeking to retake lost Ottoman territory. The mainly Egyptian force succeeded in defeating Abdullah's forces, taking over the Saudi capital of Dariliya in 1818. Abdullah was taken prisoner and was soon beheaded by the Ottomans in Istanbul, putting an end to the first Saudi state. The Egyptians sent many members of the Āl Saʻūd clan and other members of the local nobility as prisoners to Egypt and Istanbul, and razed the Saudi capital Dariliya. Second Saudi state. A few years after the fall of Dariliya in 1818, the Saudis were able to re-establish their authority in Najd, establishing what is now commonly known as the Second Saudi State, with its capital in Riyadh. Compared to the First Saudi State, the Second Saudi period was marked by less territorial expansion and less religious zeal, although the Saudi leaders continued to go by the title of Imam and still employed Salafi religious scholars. The Second State was also marked by severe internal conflicts within the Saudi family, eventually leading to the dynasty's downfall. In all but one instance, succession occurred by assassination or civil war, the exception being the passage of authority from Faisal ibn Turki to his son Abdullah ibn Faisal ibn Turki. The first Saudi to attempt to regain power after the fall of Diriyah in 1818 was Mishari ibn Saud, a brother of the last ruler in Diriyah. Mishari was soon captured by the Egyptians and killed. In 1824, Turki ibn Abdullah, another Saudi who had managed to evade capture by the Egyptians, was able to expel Egyptian forces and their local allies from Riyadh and its environs. Turki, a grandson of the first Saudi Imam Muhammad ibn Saud, is generally regarded as the founder of the Second Saudi dynasty and is also the ancestor of the kings of modern-day Saudi Arabia. He made his capital in Riyadh and was able to enlist the services of many relatives who had escaped captivity in Egypt, including his son Faisal. Turki was assassinated in 1834 by Mishari ibn Abdul Rahman, a distant cousin. Mishari was soon besieged in Riyadh and later executed by Turki's son, Faisal, who went on to become the most prominent ruler of the Saudis' second reign. Faisal, however, faced a re-invasion of Najd by the Egyptians 4 years later. The local population was unwilling to resist, and Faisal was defeated and taken to Egypt as a prisoner for the second time in 1838. The Egyptians installed Khalid ibn Saud as ruler in Riyadh and supported him with Egyptian troops. Khalid was the last surviving brother of the last Imam of the First Saudi State, and had spent many years in the Egyptian court. In 1840, however, external conflicts forced the Egyptians to withdraw all their presence in the Arabian Peninsula, leaving Khalid with little support. Seen by most locals as nothing more than an Egyptian governor, Khalid was toppled soon afterwards by Abdullah ibn Thunayyan, of the collateral al-Thunayyan branch. Faisal, however, had been released that year, and, aided by the al-Rashid rulers of Hawil, was able to retake Riyadh and resume his rule. Faisal later appointed his son Abdullah as crown prince, and divided his dominions between his 3 sons Abdullah, Saud, and Muhammad. Upon Faisal's death in 1865, Abdullah assumed rule in Riyadh but was soon challenged by his brother, Saud ibn Faisal. The two brothers fought a long civil war, in which they traded rule in Riyadh several times. Previously a vassal of the Saudis, Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Rashid of Hale took the opportunity to intervene in the conflict and increase his own power. Gradually, Ibn Rashid extended his authority over most of Najd, including the Saudi capital, Riyadh. Ibn Rashid finally expelled the last Saudi leader, Abdul Rahman bin Faisal, from Najd after the Battle of Mulada in 1891. Saudi Arabia. After his defeat at Mulada, Abdul Rahman ibn Faisal went with his family into exile in the deserts of eastern Arabia among the Al-Murra Bedouin. Soon afterward, however, Abdul Rahman found refuge in Kuwait as a guest of the Kuwaiti Emir, Mubarak al-Sabah. In 1902, Abdul Rahman's son, Abdulaziz, took on the task of restoring Saudi rule in Riyadh. Supported by a few dozen followers and accompanied by some of his brothers and relatives, Abdulaziz was able to capture Riyadh's Mazmak fort and kill the governor appointed there by Ibn Rashid. Abdulaziz, reported to have been barely 20 at the time, was immediately proclaimed ruler in Riyadh. As the new leader of the House of Saud, Abdulaziz became commonly known from that time simply as Ibn Saud. Ibn Saud spent the next 3 decades trying to re-establish his family's rule over as much of the Arabian Peninsula as possible, starting with his native Najd. His chief rivals were the al-Rashid clan in Hil, the Sharifs of Mecca in the Hijaz, and the Ottoman Turks in al-Hassa. Ibn Saud also had to contend, however, with the descendants of his late uncle Saud ibn Faisal, who posed as the rightful heirs to the throne. Though for a time acknowledging the sovereignty of the Ottoman sultans and even taking the title of Pasha, Ibn Saud allied himself to the British, in opposition to the Ottoman-backed al-Rashid. From 1915 to 1927, Ibn Saud's dominions were a protectorate of the British Empire, pursuant to the 1915 Treaty of Darien. By 1932, Ibn Saud had disposed of all his main rivals and consolidated his rule over much of the Arabian Peninsula. He declared himself king of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that year. Previously, he had gone through several titles, starting with Sultan of Najd, and ending with King of Hijaz and Najd and their dependencies. Ibn Saud's father, Abdul Rahman, retained the honorary title of Imam. In 1937 near Dammam, American surveyors discovered what later proved to be Saudi Arabia's vast oil reserves. Before the discovery of oil, many family members were destitute. Ibn Saud fathered dozens of sons and daughters by his many wives. He had at most only 4 wives at one time. He divorced and married many times. He made sure to marry into many of the noble clans and tribes within his territory, including the chiefs of the Bani Khalid, Ajman, and Shama tribes, as well as the Al-Ashik. He also arranged for his sons and relatives to enter into similar marriages. He appointed his eldest surviving son, Saud, as heir apparent, to be succeeded by the next eldest son, Faisal. The Saudi family became known as the royal family, and each member, male and female, was accorded the title Emir or Amira, respectively. Ibn Saud died in 1953, after having cemented an alliance with the United States in 1945. He is still celebrated officially as the founder, and only his direct descendants may take on the title of His or Her Royal Highness. The date of his recapture of Riyadh in 1902 was chosen to mark Saudi Arabia's centennial in 1999. Upon Ibn Saud's death, his son Saud assumed the throne without incident, but his lavish spending led to a power struggle with the new crown prince, Faisal. In 1964, the royal family forced Saud to abdicate in favor of Faisal, aided by an edict from the country's Grand Mufti. During this period, some of Ibn Saud's younger sons, led by Talal ibn Abdulaziz, defected to Egypt, calling themselves the Free Princes, and calling for liberalization and reform, but were later induced to return by Faisal. They were fully pardoned but were also barred from any future positions in government. Faisal was assassinated in 1975 by a nephew, Faisal ibn Musaid, who was promptly executed. Another brother, King Khalid, assumed the throne. The next prince in line had actually been Prince Muhammad, but he had relinquished his claim to the throne in favor of Khalid, his only full brother. Khalid died of a heart attack in 1982, and was succeeded by Fahd, the eldest of the powerful Sujari 7, so called because they were all sons of Ibn Saud's wife, Hassa al-Sujari. Fahd did away with the previous royal title of His Majesty, and replaced it with the honorific custodian of the 2 holy mosques, in reference to the 2 Islamic holy sites in Mecca and Medina in 1986. A stroke in 1995 left Fahd largely incapacitated, and the Crown Prince, Abdullah, gradually took over most of the king's responsibilities until Fahd's death in August 2005. Abdullah was proclaimed king on the day of Fahd's death and promptly appointed his younger brother Sultan bin Abdulaziz, the Minister of Defense and Fahd's second deputy prime minister, as the new heir apparent. Sultan passed away in October 2011. On March 27, 2009, Abdullah appointed Prince Naif Interior Minister as his second Deputy Prime Minister, and Crown Prince on October 27. Naif died in Geneva, Switzerland on June 15, 2012. Political power. The head of the House of Saud is the King of Saudi Arabia, who serves as head of state and monarch of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The king holds almost absolute political power. The king appoints ministers to his cabinet who supervise their respective ministries in his name. The key ministries of defense, the interior, and foreign affairs are reserved for the Āl Saʻūd, as are most of the 13 regional governorships. Most portfolios, however, such as finance, labor, information, planning, petroleum affairs and industry, have traditionally been given to commoners, often with junior Āl Saʻūd members serving as their deputies. House of Saud family members also hold many of the kingdom's critical military and governmental departmental posts. Ultimate power in the kingdom has always rested upon the Āl Saʻūd, though support from the ulama, the merchant community, and the population at large has been key to the maintenance of the royal family's political status quo. Long-term political and government appointments, such as those of King Abdullah, who was commander of the National Guard from 1963 to 2010, former Crown Prince Sultan, who was Minister of Defense and Aviation from 1962 until his death in 2011, Prince Mutab Minister of Municipal and Rural Affairs from 1975 to 2009, former Crown Prince Naif, who was the Minister of Interior from 1975 to 2012, and the current Crown Prince Salman, who was Governor of the Riyadh region from 1963 to 2011. Have perpetuated the creation of fiefdoms where senior princes have, often, though not exclusively, commingled their personal wealth with that of their respective domains. They have often appointed their own sons to senior positions within their own fiefdom. Examples of these include Prince Mutab bin Abdullah as Assistant Commander in the National Guard until 2010. Prince Khalid bin Sultan as Assistant Minister of Defense until 2013. Prince Mansour bin Mutab as Assistant Minister for Municipal and Rural Affairs until he replaced his father in 2009. And Prince Muhammad bin Naif as Assistant Minister in the Interior Ministry. In cases where portfolios have notably substantial budgets, appointments of younger, often full, brothers have been necessary, as deputies or vice ministers, ostensibly to share the wealth and the burdens of responsibility, of each fiefdom. Examples of these include Prince Abdul Rahman, who was Vice Minister of Defense and Aviation under Prince Sultan. Prince Badr, Deputy to King Abdullah in the National Guard. Prince Sitam, who was Deputy Riyadh Governor during Prince Salman's term. And Prince Ahmed, who held the Deputy Minister's portfolio under Prince Naif's Interior Ministry. Unlike Western royal families, the Saudi monarchy has not had a clearly defined order of succession. Historically, upon becoming king, the monarch has designated an heir apparent to the throne who serves as Crown Prince of the kingdom. Upon the king's death, the Crown Prince becomes king, and during the king's incapacitation the Crown Prince, likewise, assumes power as regent. Though other members of the Āl Saʻūd hold political positions in the Saudi government, technically it is only the king and Crown Prince who legally constitute the political institutions. Succession. Wealth. The sharing of family wealth has been a critical component in maintaining the semblance of a united front within the royal family. An essential part of family wealth is the kingdom in its physical entirety, which the Āl Saʻūd view as a totally owned family asset. During the reign of Fahd, the financial impact may have exceeded 40% of the kingdom's annual budget, through commingling of personal and state funds from lucrative government positions, huge land allocations, direct allotments of crude oil to sell in the open market, segmental controls in the economy, preferences for award of major contracts, cash handouts, and astronomical monthly allowances, all built to the national exchequer. Over decades of oil revenue-generated expansion, estimates of royal net worth is at well over $1.4 trillion. This wealth distribution has allowed many senior princes and princesses to accumulate largely unauditable wealth and, in turn, pay out, in cash or kind, to lesser royals and commoners, and so gain political influence. During periods of high oil prices, such as the late 1970s, the early 1980s, and immediately after the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq, national income outpaced the developmental needs and social obligations of the Saudi government, and the effects of royal skimming were diminished. According to well-publicized but unsubstantiated reports, King Abdullah intends to reduce the Āl Saūd share of the budget. This may sow discontent within the royal family, but would be popular with the kingdom's citizenry. Opposition to the House of Saud. Internal opposition. Due to its authoritarian and theocratic rule, the House of Saud has attracted much criticism during its rule of Saudi Arabia. Its opponents generally refer to the Saudi monarchy as totalitarians or dictators. There have been numerous incidents of demonstrations and other forms of resistance against the House of Saud. These range from the Ikhwan uprising during the reign of Ibn Saud, to numerous coup attempts by the different branches of the kingdom's military. On November 20, 1979, the holy sanctuary in Mecca was violently seized by a group of dissidents. The seizure was carried out by 500 heavily armed and provisioned Saudi dissidents, consisting mostly of members of the former Ikhwan tribe of Attribution but also of other peninsular Arabs and a few Egyptians enrolled in Islamic studies at the Islamic University of Medina. The seizure was led by Rahman al-Otabi and Abdullah al-Qahtani, who cited the corruption and ostentatiousness of the ruling House of Saud. Al-Otabi and his group spoke against the socio-Euro-technological changes taking place in Saudi Arabia. Al-Otabi demanded that oil should not be sold to the United States. Al-Otabi received little mass support outside of small circles of workers and students of tribal origin, and foreign laborers. The Saudi royal family turned to the ulama, who duly issued a fatwa permitting the storming of the holy sanctuary. Saudi forces, aided by French and Pakistani special ops units, took 2 weeks to flush the rebels out of the holy sanctuary. The use of French commandos was surprising since, officially, non-Muslims may not enter the city of Mecca. All surviving males were beheaded publicly in 4 cities of Saudi Arabia. Heads of the House of Saud. First Saudi state, Muhammad ibn Saud ruled 1744–1765, Abdulaziz ibn Muhammad ibn Saud ruled 1765–1803, Saud ibn Abdulaziz ibn Muhammad Āl Saūd ruled 1803–1814, Abdullah ibn Saud ruled 1814–1818. Second Saudi state, 1. Turkey ibn Abdullah ruled 1824–1834. Second and fifth. Faisal ibn Turki Āl Saūd ruled 1834–1838 and 1843–1865. 3. Khalid ibn Saud ruled 1838–1841. 4. Abdullah ibn Thunayn ruled 1841 and 1843. 6th, 8th and 11th. Abdullah bin Faisal bin Turki Āl Saūd ruled 1865 and 1871, 1871 and 1873, 1876 and 1889. 7th and 9th. Saud ibn Faisal ibn Turki ruled 1871 and 1873 and 1875. 10th and 12th. Abdul Rahman bin Faisal ruled 1875 1876 and 1889 1891. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, King Abdulaziz bin Abdul Rahman Āl Saūd ruled 1932 1953. King Saud bin Abdulaziz ruled 1953 1964. King Faisal bin Abdulaziz ruled 1964 1975, King Khalid bin Abdulaziz ruled 1975 1982, King Fahd bin Abdulaziz ruled 1982 2005, King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz since 2005. Most notable current members, sons of King Abdulaziz. The list of King Abdulaziz's surviving sons, except for current Saudi monarch King Abdullah, are as follows. Bandar bin Abdulaziz has never held a government post but considered close to King Abdullah. Religious, and possibly a recluse. Mishal bin Abdulaziz former Minister of Defense and Governor of Mecca Province. Close confidant of King Abdullah, and Chairman of the Allegiance Council, Mishal is one of the kingdom's wealthiest royals with extensive interests in real estate and a wide range of business interests. Abdul Rahman bin Abdulaziz former Deputy Defense Minister from 1978 to 2011. Muhammad bin Abdulaziz Euro Minister of Municipal and Rural Affairs from 1975 to 2009. He has a long-standing family alliance with King Abdullah. Talal bin Abdulaziz Euro has held the ministerial portfolios for finance and communications in the 1950s. Major businessman, special envoy to UNESCO and chairman of a fund. Not considered a contender for the throne as a result of his leading role in the Free Princes movement of 1958 which sought government reform, and his 2011 resignation from the Allegiance Council. Nawaf bin Abdulaziz Euro Senior Advisor of King Abdullah, former Minister of Finance and Director General of the General Intelligence Directorate from 2001 to 2005. Has substantial business holdings. Turkey bin Abdulaziz Euro businessman after he was forced to resign as Deputy Minister of Defense in 1978. Salman bin Abdulaziz Euro former Governor of Riyadh Province from 1963 to November 5, 2011. Minister of Defense since November 5, 2011. Upon the death of Crown Prince Nayef on June 16, 2012, Prince Salman was appointed Crown Prince. Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Euro former Governor of Āl Saʻūd Province. Appointed Special Advisor to King Abdullah in 2008. Muhammad bin Abdulaziz Euro former Governor of Tabaik region who was removed from the post by King Fahd for insubordination. Later he was made Director of Saudi Center of Strategic Studies. Ahmed bin Abdulaziz Euro Deputy Minister of Interior from 1975 to 2012. Former Minister of Interior from June 2012 to November 5, 2012. Muhammad bin Abdulaziz, Muqrin bin Abdulaziz Euro Director General of the General Intelligence Directorate from 2005 to 2012. Former Governor of Hul and Madinah Provinces. Second Deputy Prime Minister since February 1, 2013. Deputy Crown Prince since March 27, 2014. Daughters of King Abdulaziz, Al-Jawahir bin Abdulaziz, Jawahir bin Abdulaziz, Latifa bin Abdulaziz, Lama bin Abdulaziz, Maha bin Abdulaziz, Muf bint Abdulaziz, Sarah bin Abdulaziz, Al-Bandari bin Abdulaziz, living grandsons of King Abdulaziz, Abdullah bin Khalid Euro Chairman of the King Khalid Foundation. Muhammad bin Faisal Euro former Deputy Minister for Agriculture. Founder and Chairman of DMI Trust and the Faisal Islamic Bank Group. Member of the Board of Trustees for the King Faisal Foundation. Oldest son of Ifat al-Thunayan. Khalid al-Faisal Euro poet, former Governor of the Makkah Province and Managing Director of the King Faisal Foundation. Minister of Education December 2013. Muhammad bin Saud Euro former Governor of Naran Province until 2008. Saud al-Faisal Euro long-serving Foreign Minister and close confidant of King Abdullah. Member of the Board of Trustees for the King Faisal Foundation. Faisal bin Bandara Euro Governor of Qasim Province. Muhammad bin Saud Euro former Deputy Governor of Riyadh Province, Turkey. Al-Faisal Euro Head of Saudi Arabia's General Intelligence Directorate from 1977 to 2001. Former Ambassador to the U.S. until December 2006. Member of the Board of Trustees for the King Faisal Foundation. Saud bin Abdul Mozina Euro Governor of Hol Province. Turkey bin Nasser Euro President of the Meteorology and Environment. Khalid bin Sultana Euro Deputy Minister of Defense from November 2011 to April 20, 2013. Bandar bin Sultana Euro former long-serving ambassador to the U.S. Secretary General of the National Security Council since October 2005 and Director General of the Saudi Intelligence Agency since July 19, 2012. Fahd bin Sultana Euro Governor of Tabaik Province. Muhammad bin Fadar Euro former Governor of the Eastern Province. Saud bin Fadar Euro Vice Director of the Saudi Intelligence Agency until October 2005. Sultan bin Fadar Euro former President of Youth Welfare, Khalid bin Bandara Euro Governor of Riyadh Province. Mansour bin Mutada Euro Minister of Municipal and Rural Affairs since 2009. Mutada bin Abdullah Euro Commander of the National Guard and Minister of National Guard since May 2013. Muhammad bin Nawaf Euro Saudi Ambassador to London. Faisal bin Khalid Governor of Asir Province. Mishari bin Saud Governor of Al-Bahar Province since 2010. Al-Walid bin Talala world-class investor and is consistently ranked among Forbes magazine's wealthiest billionaires. Source of wealth reported to include private investments from other royals. Saud bin Naif Governor of Eastern Province. Former head of the Court of Crown Prince, former Saudi ambassador to Spain and deputy governor of the Eastern Province. Sultan bin Salman former astronaut and Secretary-General of the Supreme Commission for Tourism since 2000. Mishal bin Majid Jeddah Governor. Muhammad bin Naif Minister of Interior since November 5, 2012. Abdulaziz bin Salman Assistant Petroleum Minister. Khaled bin Talala businessman. Abdulaziz bin Abdullah Deputy Foreign Minister since 2011. Faisal bin Salman Governor of Madinah Province. Turki bin Muqrin businessman. Mishal bin Abdullah Āl Saʻūd former Governor of Nahran Province 2009 to 2013, Governor of Makkah Province December 2013. Turki bin Abdullah Āl Saʻūd Deputy Governor of the Riyadh Province. Abdulaziz bin Fardar Minister of State. Salman bin Sultan Deputy Defense Minister. Turki bin Salman Chairman of the Saudi Research and Marketing Group. See also. References. Further reading, Alexei Vasilyev, The History of Saudi Arabia, London, UK, Āl Saʻūd Books, 1998, David Holden and Richard Johns, The House of Saud, Pan. 1982, 0-330-26834-1, Madawi al-Rashid, A History of Saudi Arabia, Cambridge University Press, 2002, ISBN 0-521-64412-7, The House of Saud by David Holden and Richard Johns. Contains 538 pages, plus bibliography, index, and family history. Also sections of black and white plates. External links, A Chronology, The House of Saud, Frontline, PBS, August 1, 2005. The House of Saud, A View of the Modern Saudi Dynasty, Frontline, PBS, August 1, 2005. Structure of the House of Saud, Global Security, Saudi Royal Family Directory. Online Bios Incorporated. A